welcome back to the channel. My name is James, and here at 20th and 21st Movies, we're about all things cinema. So I'm really excited about this review today. This is a film that I recently picked up from Barnes & Noble as part of the Criterion Collection 50% off sale here in November of 2020 at the time of this recording. And I'm really excited about sharing this one because this is a movie that really caught my eye when I first heard it announced a few months ago, and that is the 1974 film Claudine, starring James Earl Jones and Diahann Carroll and directed by John Barry. And this is really one of those really pleasant surprises and pleasant gems that you pick out from the Criterion Collection. All right, so I first learned about this particular film back in July when Criterion announced that they were releasing this in October of this year. And this was a really pleasant surprise. I'm really pleased that Criterion chose to release this movie. This is a really nice film from 1974 that shows a slice of life in America that I think needs to be brought to the forefront, and that is the life of African Americans in the 1970s in this country, and just the experiences that they went through at that time. And I think this is a beautiful encapsulation of that. Yeah, so I'm really happy that Criterion released this film in October, and I thoroughly enjoyed watching it. If you look at the back here, it says Claudine. Diahann Carroll is radiant in an unforgettable Oscar-nominated performance as Claudine, a strong-willed single mother raising 6 kids in Harlem, whose budding relationship with the gregarious garbage collector, the equally fantastic James Earl Jones, is stressed by the difficulty of getting by in an oppressive society. So Diahann Carroll is absolutely brilliant in her portrayal of the title character Claudine in this film. I mean, her performance is amazing. I mean, the performances of both leads in this film, Diahann Carroll and James Earl Jones, just are absolutely fantastic in this movie, and part of what makes this film so wonderful to watch. And I just thoroughly enjoyed it. Diahann Carroll, of course, she plays Claudine, a single mother in Harlem in New York City in the early 1970s, and she's dealing with the struggles of the welfare system and just the bureaucracy of the welfare system, and the fact that, you know, she's trying to also earn extra money, but that creates a conflict with the social workers from welfare saying that, hey, if you're earning any additional money or if you're getting any benefits from someone else, like maybe a man in your life or whatever, if he's helping to pay for some of the things in your life, then we're going to have to deduct your welfare. And just that whole mess and tug of war of the welfare and social system, and just the struggle to survive is a big part of this film and what this film is portraying. So James Earl Jones plays Roop. He is a garbage man in this film, and of course he and Diahann Carroll's character Claudine develop a relationship. Of course, Roop gets to know Claudine, he gets to know her kids, and really develops a closeness with Claudine and her children in this film. And you also get to see different sides of James Earl Jones's character Roop, in the fact that he's getting to know Claudine, getting to know her children, and almost becoming sort of a father figure to her kids. But then you also learn that he also has kids that he's estranged with in different states that he doesn't ever see. And so you begin to see other aspects of his character that really gives you depth and dimension and complexity to James Earl Jones's character. And his portrayal of Roop in this film is just absolutely fantastic. I mean, Diahann Carroll is great in this film, James Earl Jones is great in this film, and the whole supporting cast is really pretty awesome in this movie. The kids are great in their roles. This film shows the working class struggle of black families in the early 1970s in New York City and Harlem. And this film just really gives you a very real and genuine picture and look at what that life was really like. And I just love that about this film. It's a film with very simple characters, a very real portrayal of just the real life struggles that they're dealing with. And I really appreciate that about this film. Okay, another great aspect of this film that was a really nice surprise that I really appreciated was the music in this film. The music in this film is absolutely amazing. So this film features a soundtrack from Curtis Mayfield and performed by Gladys Knight and the Pips, and it is absolutely amazing. Some of the songs were specifically, I think they were specifically written for this film, because you hear the name Claudine, you hear Claudine's character actually called out in some of the songs. So I think the songs were actually written for this film, and it's just fantastic. I mean, the soundtrack and the music throughout this film are absolutely amazing. They're really a big part of the experience of watching this film. Okay, so how does it look on Blu-ray? It looks great on Blu-ray, quite frankly. This is a 4K digital restoration with an uncompressed monaural soundtrack. And this 4K restoration on Blu-ray for this 1974 film looks really, really nice. I mean, you can tell that it is an older film. You can tell that it's a film from the 1970s. It has that look. But the 4K restoration really cleans up this image really well. I mean, this is a great looking image that Criterion has put together with this restoration, and it just looks really good on Blu-ray. The 4K restoration work that they did to really clean up the image really shows. I have to imagine this is the best that this film has ever looked, because it looks absolutely wonderful on Blu-ray. The 4K digital restoration work that Criterion did is really, really good, and I was very pleased with how this film looks. Right, so the audio sounds really good. This is an uncompressed monaural soundtrack, and it sounds really, really nice, which I think is very important considering the fact that you've got this Curtis Mayfield, Gladys Knight and the Pips soundtrack on here. It sounds really good, and it comes across really well in your sound system. It's not a big 5.1 or 7.1 DTS HD master audio soundtrack or anything. It's not something that's gonna blow your sound system away, but it sounds really good and comes across really well on Blu-ray in this audio presentation. So I was very happy with that, and I thought the soundtrack and the music came across really well. The dialogue is good. Everything just sounds really, really nice and clear on this disc. So the video and the audio presentation is double thumbs up, and I really enjoyed it. All right, so in the supplements department, this is not exactly a stacked edition by Criterion, but there are a few really nice special features on here that you should take note of. One is there is an audio commentary on here. Like I said before, I love commentaries on discs. So this commentary features Diahann Carroll, James Earl Jones, and Lawrence Hilton Jacobs, who plays Charles, who is Diahann Carroll's oldest son, Claudine's oldest son in this film. So really nice audio commentary. You also have a new conversation with Robert Townsend and programmer Ashley Clark. This is a really nice conversation. Robert Townsend talks about why Claudine is one of his favorite movies, and he really goes into the fact that Claudine is a representation of the way his life was growing up when he was a kid, because he was a product of a single mother family, and he recounts his experiences and how those experiences are very similar to what is portrayed in this movie, and I just found that very interesting. So that is a very fascinating watch of that conversation between Robert Townsend and Ashley Clark. And then you've got a really nice interview with Diahann Carroll that has it doesn't show her like live and in person, but you hear Diahann Carroll's voice throughout the interview, and they cut it up into different segments where she talks about different aspects of her career and her life and her experiences making this film and her career as a whole. She talks about her struggles as an African American actress in the industry, and the fact that some of her opportunities were limited because of the fact that she was black. She talks about her experiences in the TV show Julia, which was a big part of her success, that series running from I think 1968 to 1971, and how groundbreaking that series was at the time. And so that's a really fascinating supplement. And then you also have an interview, a new interview with film critic Imogen Sarah Smith, talking about director John Barry and the fact that he, for a time, he was blacklisted, and that he had made films in so many different genres under different names, and just his experiences over the years. So that was a very fascinating talk from Imogen Sarah Smith that you should check out. So yeah, overall, very nice package from Criterion. I think this is a really, really good disc that I highly recommend picking up, especially now during the Barnes & Noble Criterion sale. So I am really happy I picked this one up. I absolutely love this film. So it's good to see Criterion really beginning to show more films that feature the African American experience, as well as other films that feature black directors and other actors of color, either behind the camera or in front of the camera. So definitely look forward to more titles like these from the Criterion Collection. Alright, so there you have it. That's my review of the Criterion Collection release of the 1974 film Claudine, starring Diahann, Carroll, and James Earl Jones, and directed by John Barry. So this is a great film. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and let me know in the comments below, what do you think about this film? Have you seen this film? Do you plan to pick up this release from the Criterion Collection during this Barnes & Noble sale here in November? We have just a few days left in this sale. Do you plan to pick it up? And what other titles are you looking to pick up as part of this Barnes & Noble sale? Again, as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time at the movies. Peace.